Corn nuts, they're gross. That's why they're in there. All right, so the mobility scooter and the Jeep. So we're both running basically the same electronics. She's faster because her wheels are literally larger diameter than mine. She's way faster. That's the one you picked out? Okay. I've had a lot of questions. What's wrong, Ellie? I've had a lot of questions about my daughter's Power Wheel Jeep that we built and put together. So I'm going to try to make a video of it. This is our family's. This is my 4-year-old who is. It's pretty much stock, except for it uses the Ryobi 18 volts in parallel, and I have the upgraded um, gears on there and motors. I think the 15,000 or 35,000 RPMs. I honestly can't remember, but this one all works stock. The battery's not in it, and all the lights and the remote control and everything still works on that. So 18 volts, the controller and everything is all still works. I know a lot of people say if you run them on 18 volts they'll burn out. I don't know, this one's been running forever just fine on 18 volts. Everything works, no problems. So that's my 4-year-olds. This is my almost 9-year-olds. And this one is mine. That's the one I ride. Alright, so this is the one in question. And so what makes it special is it's got a mobility scooter rear end in it. So pretty much the same motor and rear end as you would see in one of these. Probably can't really see much. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think these may be identical. So I got this mobility scooter for free, and it had a bad controller. And I fixed it with just a simple old brushed e-bike controller and a thumb throttle like this. And that's it. That's how I fixed this one, and it works great. It's got good speed. So you can see I chose this thumb throttle. It works a little better, and that's it. So I didn't document the build process on this, but I'm just going to try to give you as much details as I can about it, and I will also put links in the description to everything that I used for this. All right, so it's not exactly a super clean build, but it works great. We have fun. It's pretty fast. I don't want to modify it anymore. It's as fast as we would want it to be, and so I think we're actually done. It's actually all good right now. So for starters, I do still have the original 12-volt battery and controller still in here, and as you can see, I don't have any of the motors or anything plugged in to the controller, just the power, and that is just simply to run the lights and stuff. So it runs those little lights, light up, and the headlights, and it's got a horn and stuff. That all still works. That doesn't work, but so I still keep the stock battery and controller just for that stuff to work. And none, that stuff doesn't have to be turned on for this Jeep to drive. So the rest of it is just running on, a little brushed e-bike controller and a variable speed pedal. And so what this is, and I'll talk about this in a few minutes here, but that's a brake. I converted the mobility scooter electric brake into a mechanical brake, because The brake as it is stock is basically useless. This operates as a parking brake on a mobility scooter. So I don't even use the one on this mobility scooter. I don't even have brakes on this. I have to use my feet to stop myself. But well, you know, for my daughter's Jeep, that wasn't very safe. We needed brakes. So I'll show you that in a minute. All right, what do we want to do here? Okay, so first of all, let me get this out of the way. For whatever, so these are both running on 48 volts. I will show you the batteries in a minute. You know, I've been through a bunch of different processes on this thing. I had it at 24 volts and all that, but now it's on 48 volts. So this is what I want to get out of the way first. Now these 1000 watt controllers, and maybe it's because they're from Alpha Wheels, I guess. I don't know why. But for whatever reason, these little 500 watt controllers are much faster than the 1000 watt. I'm not sure why. I can't answer that. They just are. These, so, and as you can tell, these are actually two different 1000 watt 48 volt controllers. One of these, I think it's this one, I liked because it had a reverse switch. Yeah. However, my daughter wasn't a big fan of the reverse switch because there was a huge delay, and I'll show you. So you can see I have the wires cut from it right now, so it's not hooked up. But that was just a little reverse switch, but it had to be at a complete stop, and it took like 3 seconds for it to kick in. So once you hit that reverse switch, 1000, 1000, 1000, it would finally go into reverse. She found that very annoying. Now this is a mechanical reverse switch. This is actually going to go back in there. I need to put it back in. I just haven't yet. So she has reverse. This works good. This can handle, you know, all the amperage of the batteries. So this will actually go back in. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's a little difficult for the kids to switch this because it is kind of hard to switch. As long as you mount it okay, it's doable. These are the old 24 volt. There's nothing wrong with these, still work, but we're on 48 volts now. Like I said, I have no idea why these 1000 watt controllers were so weak, but they just were no good. So I went back to the little 500 watt controllers, and both this and this are running the same parts. And this one, I'm just running a thumb throttle for the variable speed. And in this one, I'm running the, you know, the brake or the foot pedal. I have it bent just because that was the way it worked out best in here. I'll link all the parts I used in the description, but it's a pretty simple build. You can see that I'm running two batteries in series, two 24 volt in series, and they just lay in there. So here's the batteries. So these are 18650 packs. You can kind of see that. My Mike's Hard Lemonade pack that I built myself. So, you know, price wise, I don't know. I can't give you a price. If you know how to build batteries, if you have a little spot welder, makes things a lot easier. This is a 6S battery. These are both 6S batteries, which are 24 volts each. So in series we get 48 volts. Now on my mobility scooter, I bought these batteries from batteryhookup.com. They don't always have these for sale or in stock or whatever, but I got them super cheap. These are 25 volt and 10 amp hours each. And they have a BMS in them and everything. Really sweet. I just had, these are in series and they're plugged right in down there. So 48 volts, 48 volts. same controllers. This one has a, you know, a thumb throttle, and that one has a foot throttle. That's the difference. Same motors, same drivetrain, same everything. Now, the other big question I get on this one is, did I have to extend it out to get it to fit on this? And the answer is yes. Let me set you down real quick so I can lift this up and I'll show you underneath. Alright, and I don't know if that lighting is good enough. I don't know if this is better or worse. That's probably better like that. So there we go, mobility scooter rear end. What I did, as you can see, this Jeep came stock with this little metal frame, but it was only this straight part, you know, the axle went through here. I added the Y part with this, and then this is just basically a C-clamp. You run a bolt through it to clamp onto the, you know, the mounting rubbers of the motor on both sides, and that's it. Now I also added these little bearing supports, which I welded on. Now all this is done with pretty basic tools and a little $100 Harbor Freight welder. Well, $100 like 4 years ago. And as you can see, not much welding skill. I'm not very good at welding. If I can do this, you can do it. My welding is horrible, so please don't laugh at my welding. But it works. So what I did is I took the mobility scooter axle, so the axle end about right there, and I needed a way to, you know, I wanted to just use the stock tires. So I just put a nut on the end. I got it as straight as possible, and I welded it together, and then I just used a hammer and just straightened it out until I got them to spin relatively straight. And you can tell they're not perfectly straight, but it still runs really smooth. No issues. So it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. These are just toys, man. We just have fun. So yeah, so you can see I welded a little L bracket on here. I have a little bearing support that goes through, and I'll put a link in the description of all the stuff that I bought. And all right, so this part, and I'll put pictures too on the screen of what this stuff looks like out of the Jeep. But it's real easy to remove this whole rear end. All you have to do is unscrew this bolt and undo those two bolts, and the whole thing pulls right out, and undo the positive and negative wire. That's it. These are just light wires, nothing important. So what this, and now how I attach the drive to the wheels is that those are just pieces of metal that I ground into shape and badly welded onto this is the stock Power Wheels shaft that I cut and put in here. And all that metal is these plates that you get at like Home Depot to tie like rafters together, or you know, whatever. That's all that is. Most of this stuff on here is made from these plates. I just use like tin snips, cut it out, and then, you know, self tapper screws in. So weld it on there, and now you're putting power to the wheels, and that's it. And it also, you know, they go through the wheels and they bolt. You know, these go through the wheels and bolt on this side. They're just, you know, the stock rod. And that's it. So that's the mobility scooter rear end. This Jeep came stock with these shocks. They were already on here. They kind of work. Now the other thing I did, this is my mechanical brake, and so you can see I took the electric brake off the back of this, which it's over here on the shelf. You can see that's the electric brake that was on there. Switch it one way and it freewheels, switch it the other and it engages. And all it does is pop this out, pushes in on that plate, and then there's a little kind of, I don't, maybe it's ceramic round disc that once you push in on that plate, it locks up the motor, right? So you can see on the mobility scooter here, it's still intact. I just keep it unlocked. So it operates really as a parking brake. It's basically useless in this application. You have to come to a complete stop and then it locks, just so you don't roll away. Well, it's useless. We wanted actual brakes. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to push on the brake pedal with my hand, and we'll see if you can see that actuate. It really doesn't move all that much, to be honest with you. Let's see. I can already tell, but so all I did was make a little bracket with the metal folded in the shape of a C and welded it onto another little bracket that was in the shape of an L. Put a bolt through it, and that's the brake. It pushes on this, which pushes on the disc, and it stops the motor. That's it. That's all it is, and it's bolted on with one of those bolts, and then I welded a couple little nubs on the back, just so it can't like rotate. And that's it. That's how I made, and that's a brake arm from a bicycle. You know, a bicycle brake without the rubber part right here. And these, as you can see, are loose, but so that this thing can still spin freely. And I have to stop one of the tires with my knee so you can see it spin. I won't be able to actuate the brakes right now because this is, you know, it won't stop when they're spinning like this. They have to both be spinning the same way. But anyways, that's how the brakes work. It's just a bicycle cable. And that's it. All right, let's take this back down. Mobility scooter rear end, that's stock front end. And let's take it down. All right. So here we are. Let's put the batteries in. This might be kind of hard to do with one hand, but a bit of a tight fit. I've just finished this, so I could kind of clean this up, but it's not like we drive in when it's raining and stuff. But and now I just have the on and off switch wire jump with the little jumper wire, so that when a battery is plugged in, it's turned on. You can you know, you can put an on and off switch if you want, but I just want it when it's plugged in, it's on, and then from there, you know, you can see it works. So an adult, if you can fit in there and push the pedal with your foot, you can ride this. It'll carry you. Here, let me see if I can make it. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh jeez. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, pretty powerful. I just well, broke the little ring off. My daughter would be freaking out if she saw that. Pop that back on. All right. So that's the Jeep, and then I got, you know, you can turn this stuff on. So it's ready for a ride. Let's take it for a ride so you can see how fast it is. Oh, and also, do you notice how quiet this thing is when it's running? It is like literally like silent. This is really hard to do with only one hand. Let me see if this is a block. Let's see if I can put it up on a block. Yeah, listen to how silent this thing is. It's so quiet. So there it is there, and if I push the brake, That's the brake. So we've been riding this for a long time with no brakes. And you know, when you're going 15, 20 miles an hour in this sketchy little thing, and my daughter literally has to like drive onto the grass to get it to stop, or I go in front of her on the mobility scooter so she can basically run into me to stop. Yeah, it's sketchy. So now we got brakes. Very happy about that. So there's our setup. Little e-bike controller, throttle for the pedal, brake, and batteries. That's it. I don't know what else to say. Doing all this stuff with one hand. You see, just I put these little screws so it's quick to put it in, then it locks in right there. So it's ready to go. All right, let me go. Oh yeah, and so here, let me show you real quick too what a mobility scooter looks like on 48 volts with an e-bike controller and a little thumb throttle. All right, it's not a whole lot of room here, but can it do wheelies? Oh yes, it does wheelies instantly. All right, so let's go for a ride. You ready to go for a ride?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be riding the mobility scooter. Tegan can be riding her Jeep. We don't take Abigail's car when we go on these rides because it can't keep up with these. But Abigail fits on the seat just fine with me. Huh?
Yeah, but I can stick on that way back.
Yep.
We're gonna go to a little library.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the little library, which is
front yard.
in our neighborhood, but it's across at least one major road, kind of, or not major, but a main road. But okay, go ahead. You have brakes now, so but make sure that everything's working good. And again, notice how silent these things run.
Yeah, see how I actually use
Oh, yay, there's our big skeleton.
You should put that up today.
Yeah. Do you want to try to do a wheelie? That thing can do wheelies, but Tegan doesn't like doing it. But you want to try one just real quick? A little one.
I get really hungry. We kind of did it.
Kind of? Yeah. All right, well, we won't do any wheelies. I don't want you flipping over. All right.
Last time I kind of did a wheelie, I flipped over.
Yeah, I remember. When do you want to go full throttle?
Now, Tegan? No. When we get to one of the roads, like a little bit closer to the little library where it's not super busy and stuff.
Okay. Here's the main road we have to go across.
Move.
Yeah, to get back there to the neighborhood.
Crazy busy.
Are you ready to go full throttle now? Go ahead. There she goes. All right, go full throttle. All right, we don't have brakes. I have to use my feet.
We should add some place to this thing.
All clear.
Yep, I'll check behind them.
Ow, Abigail, you're turning the wheel when you do that.
I didn't know.
Okay. Go. She barely rides full throttle very long at all. That's what I mean about we don't really need this thing to be much faster than what it is.
I want to get in there. Can I go into there?
All right, we're at the little library, and Abigail is gonna put a book in the library, and I think Tegan's gonna take a book. Well, you've taken like 2 books and have not brought one back yet.
I'm gonna bring. I don't want to take them. I haven't finished reading Amelia video yet.
Okay. All right, Abigail has agreed to test drive Tegan's Jeep for us. Just remember, it's a little faster than yours, okay? Go ahead. Oh, chill, chill. Oh boy. Oh my God, Tegan, settle down. That thing's like a freaking go-kart now.
Do you smell smoke?
I do.